It's live, but my following is light right now.
No worries.
Okay.
Well, let's make it bigger.
Thank you. All right. Hi, good evening. I'm here today with Christian.
Yeah.
He's a local artist of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Welcome, Christian, to the Bravery and Healing Support Group. How are you feeling today?
Good. And Prak, thank you for having me. And again, my name is Christian O. I am I guess you would call it a Imagineer of so many different things. I run a consulting company called Hi, my last name, Hi
Hi.
Consulting. And then I'm very involved with CanLast Productions, SNRG. We're here actually for Thursday Mic Live at Crescendo Studios. And thank you for letting me be on your podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been here in the DC metropolitan area for over, close to 27 years.
Okay.
And I've done everything from filmmaking to managing artists. I don't like to perform singing, but I used to be a singer. I used to be in musical theater.
Okay.
I used to be part of a band at the one point, but I really like fostering connections and relationships with new artists and helping them. So I know this is about bravery and healing. There are days.
1 second. It dropped on me.
Oh, okay.
What do I do?
We can restart.
It's still live.
Okay.
I'm adding you.
There we go. So we're back. As I said, I know this is the Bravery and Healing podcast, and I always am big about mentoring and helping others.
Yeah.
How would you call it? I am a habitual giver, which is good and bad.
Yeah,
because I like to give to so many things. But then, my friends and family go, "Oh, you give, but then you don't get."
Good family members, yeah.
Well,
they're looking out for you.
Well, it's just a family, my friends too, because I tend to be habitual that way, and then people go, "Yeah, but Christian, why do you do things for free? Why do you do things out of the generosity of your heart?" Because I get pleasure from giving. That's my. So there are days, obviously, where things get frustrating or annoying or tiresome, but I always stay on course. I'm a consistent person.
Okay, that's really good that you are. So you've been metamorphosing, evolving.
I don't know about metamorphosing, but when I was younger, my focus was different. Obviously, when we're young, we focus on whether it be money, whether it be women, whether it be whatever else. But as we get older, it's about focusing on yourself. But then, how do you give yourself? Am I adverse to love? No. Am I bitter? No. I don't hold things. I don't hold grudges. I don't hold burdens on myself, right? And I think that's the hardest thing for people to deal with on a day-to-day basis is how can you unload those burdens? Because it can be tiresome. It can weigh you down. It can make you not motivated, be lazy, whatever. Every day, I must have alien blood because I always go to bed late, and then I get up super early.
That's so, good for like.
But the thing is, people say you got to get so many hours of sleep, right? But I don't agree with that. It's not the quantity of sleep; it's the quality of sleep.
Yeah.
And so I think I get enough sleep, 4 to 5 hours a night, and then I'm ready to go and tackle the day. So but again, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Well, we're a wellness channel as well, and I definitely talk about things that people can do to get to at least hopefully guarantee a better sleep, like definitely cut back on digital. But you definitely hit a point where you said quality of sleep matters to you. So do you have any tips for people who maybe struggling with just like tips that you like your self-care routine that
the thing is,
has delivered you?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink caffeine. I used to when I was younger, like everything from Red Bull to energy drinks to no dose caffeine pills because you're studying or you're staying up late working or because I used to be a DJ.
I was going to say
I was a nightclub industry, and then performing and also dealing with concerts and shows. So my big thing is I do a lot of different events, festivals, concerts. I mean, I was just in Virginia Beach this past weekend, K-Pop Gateway, and then I also do a radio program now. I started last Friday on AM 1310.
Okay.
It's K Radio. It's a Korean radio station, so it's all in Korean.
Yeah.
But we talk about everything from K-pop to K-drama, K-beauty, K-food, everything.
You know what? Because you talked about K-world.
Right.
Okay. Squid Games too, so that's how I kind of get into. Okay, and the Train to Busan.
Of course.
I could watch that movie 7 million times, and I'll watch it in Korean.
Right. There's a Train to Busan 3 coming out.
I haven't even seen the second one.
Well, the second one is called Peninsula, if you ever want to see it. It's
Thank
not
you.
called Train
Thank
to
you, yeah.
Busan. It's called Peninsula. So that's the sequel.
Yeah.
But then the third one's coming out. I don't know when, but
I
it
mean,
was announced.
They did
Train to
such a
Busan
good
3.
job bringing that culture
Of course. Well, I mean,
into, like, I don't want to watch it in English. I want to watch it in Korean.
No, that's
I
good.
feel like I'm reading, and then, I mean,
well, because I'm the same way when it comes to like watching Japanese anime. I don't want it dubbed. I want it the original Japanese language, and I'll read the subtitles because it becomes more immersive that way.
And the personalities and the characters and the stories. Oh,
Yes,
man,
yes,
and they did such a good job.
That's true. But
in
you're
showing their culture.
right. I
And
mean, it
kudos,
is, especially with the childhood games that we used to play. Everything from the, with the.
You grew up in Korea.
Well, no, I came here when I was 2. So, but I remember a lot of the stuff's in Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I've interacted with Koreans all my life. But,
yeah.
Back to your question about quality of sleep,
Yeah,
I think you need to avoid any sort of food and distractions and the stress before you go to bed. Meaning, if you fought with your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, you got to just let it go. Let it go. Yeah, and then move to making sure you don't eat anything spicy or anything heavy before going to bed.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you can embrace your sleep.
Yeah.
That's something that I've been telling my friends and people. Embrace your sleep. Just like you embrace anything in life.
Sure thing,
whether it be food, your passion, this kind of stuff that you're doing. I mean, you need to embrace it, right? If you don't embrace it, then it's always a struggle. That's why many people deal with insomnia or in struggling to sleep, right? But then you have to embrace it. I mean, don't force yourself. Like people go, oh, I'm going to count to, sheep, or I'm going to take sleeping pills. And I'm like, no, don't.
The sleeping pills hurt my feelings.
Well, not just that, but your body's going to fight it. If you don't accept and embrace your sleep, you're always going to have problems.
Yeah. I mean, some people have like trauma, and that's why they.
Well, that's true.
But if they're just.
It's hard to get rid of trauma. I mean, trust me. I mean, I've had friends who have PTSD from serving in the military. And then I've had people who have had some pretty horrific experiences, which I'm not going to share here, but they, how do they deal with that? Because you got nightmares, you've got, or night terrors as they call it. So again, if you can clear your mind before you go to bed, that might help. And then clear your body as well. Don't drink anything, don't eat anything before you plan to, go to bed. So I think those are the best tips I can give you.
That'll work. Okay, so you have a hat on that says King. So when did you tell yourself, you know what, you're gonna rock this hat? When did that it's called confidence, right?
You mean swagger, confidence, positive energy? I mean,
but it takes something within yourself to say, hey, you know what,
But I'll be dead honest with you. I'm a hat person. I love hats. I have probably 200 hats in my, but I like messages. Well, no, I like messages, but again, this is not to portray that I am a king. This is to portray that I believe in good leadership. And I believe, I'm not a super religious guy, but Jesus is king as well.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, whatever message that you want to take it, because you saw my hat and you saw the word king, right?
Yeah.
Well, however you want to interpret it, that's fine. But I am not here to dictate. I'm not here to preach. I'm just, again, it's just like, I would love, that's why I wear different hats. Like my one hat might say Young Boss, Young Kings, or my other hat might say Supreme, which is a brand, right? Or another one, I have SNRG hats, right?
Sure thing, yeah.
But again, it's just that I love hats, and whatever message you are going to interpret, that's up to you. But I'm not forcing the message down your face.
No, I read it more of a confidence.
That's fine, and that's fine that you got that, because in reality, if we want to talk about like Myers-Briggs and personality tests, but I'm actually an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm actually an I, right?
Yeah.
But over the years, I've done everything from selling knives door to door to selling.
Cutco?
Yes, I did that.
Yeah.
And then I went to selling everything from clothes to copiers to cars to technology, relationships. And it makes you a situational extrovert, meaning I learned to be extroverted, but in all honesty, I want to just go home and just be left alone. I don't want to interact with anybody. But like
especially
even
the
MCing,
music and the managerial work,
but even the MCing and the DJ stuff. Yeah. Again, I do it because there is a part that enjoys it, but it's not my core nature,
Yeah.
because I just want to be able to convey whatever,
Yeah.
like the music that I enjoy,
Yeah.
or help someone with moderating event or emceeing event.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is what I guess my, you talked about why do we do things, or why are we on the path of life? I think my
Why
path
do you
has
think
all.
like your spirit chose to live and experience
Well, I
this
mean,
life?
again,
Yeah.
I'm not super religious, because we could talk about
It's,
religion.
but it's spiritual, you know, that
No,
essence
I
that
know,
makes
but
Christian, you know, all these years
yeah,
he
but
likes to
Christian's not
give
even my real name. It's a name that I adopted when I was.
the essence that's in front of me, the being
No,
that's in
well,
front of me, you
yes,
know,
yes, but
his years of giving, this years of confidence, this years of
maybe,
all of this, you know, this
but
the K-pop person, the young kid that grew up in Korea but came on this side, you know, at this point of your life, you look back and say, what was I doing here? You know, what do
no,
you think
but I think what it is that for me, identity was difficult growing up, because I came here when I was
on this
very
side?
young,
Okay.
and where I lived in the original Southern Virginia town, Roanoke,
Yeah. Yes,
there were no
Roanoke.
Asians. So I was either with black friends or white friends. And
That's
so,
still the case, you know, in Roanoke.
no, it's gotten
Más o
better. It's gotten
menos.
better, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I just didn't know where to fit in. My best friend, one best friend was black and one best friend was white. And then it wasn't until I got to this area,
Yeah.
it was culture shock. There's so many diverse
And Adele, and Adele's
ethnicities,
K-pop. Yeah.
ethnicities and everything. So I think it really comes down to my path of my identity. And then back then I was embarrassed to be Korean, all
Yeah.
right? Because I would bring kimchi to school and people were like, what the heck is that smell? But now
Kimchi is, yeah.
everything is cool about Korea, whether it be K
H Mart,
drama, K beauty, K food,
H Mart.
H Mart,
Yeah.
Lotte, whatever you want to call it. But my point is, it's transgressed, because it used to be Korean anything was not popular, but because of K-pop, because of Psy and Gangnam Style, because of Squid Game and Train to Busan, because of these what I would
The
say
landscape's changing.
parabolic
Yeah.
sort of changes that have happened to culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Korea is cool, and Korean guys are cool. I mean, before, being an Asian guy was like last on a woman's list, right? She either wanted to date black, white, Hispanic, or something else. Now Asian men are sexy or cool or are wanted, right?
Yeah.
It used to not be that way. And I think, there was always the minority myth and the yellow peril, and the stereotypes that people put on Asian men.
Yeah.
We've been breaking those stereotypes, breaking those barriers, and
Yeah.
I hope to continue to do
And
that.
you've been definitely part of your life experience
I
on
don't know.
this
I don't
side.
know if I've been the a
Not
bastion
you.
or champion of it, but I've
No, but
definitely
your life in
tried.
itself has been, you've been watching that evolve.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And again, and then of course there are people like you who are putting on these sort of what I would say mediums to create these messages.
Yeah.
I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I think there needs to be more of that. Regardless of whether you have 3 followers or if you have 1 million followers, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If one person gets a message that can either inspire, change,
Yeah.
or the most important thing is provide hope,
Yeah.
that can be,
The initiative.
that can be what I would say just so impactful. It's like a
I
meteorite
appreciate it.
hitting a planet, right? So
Yeah. The
again,
initiative. Yeah.
yeah, but again, yeah. Anything else? I mean, I don't want to.
No,
I don't want to
I
hog the
love.
time. So
No, I love. So I mean, well, now you brought this really good point up where, like, you know, Korean, your identity, a huge part of your identity has become mainstream,
right.
but you yourself had to build it on your own, right?
Well, I mean, again, there's something I used to teach. I used to talk about this in like, I've been everything from a public speaker to what is it, keynote address or graduation speaker, and I would talk about something called code switching. Do you know what that is?
No, what is it?
So Obama was accused way back when he was greeting the NBA champions or the college basketball champions, I forget. When he saw white players, he would shake their hands very nicely, very occidentally, right? But then when he saw black players, he'd be like fist bump, hey, high fives, right? So that's something called code switching. And it's not negative and it's not necessarily super positive, but we are ingrained a lot of times. We are victims of our environment. So I'll give you another example. If I'm around Korean people, depending upon their age,
you do a bow, or
I mean, you've got to be
namaste.
very formal in your language, your
Yeah.
respect, right? But then when you're with younger Koreans, you act differently. Same thing. we in Korea are raised a little differently than what might happen in the United States. We
Yeah,
have
we respect
we
our
have
elders.
a
Yeah,
very mature respect for our elders,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Here, we don't always say sir, ma'am, whatever, but
no,
that's the way I was raised. And again, it means that code switching, depending upon the situation that you're in
yeah,
and what you were raised to be. Because like I said, I had black friends and I had white
friends.
friends.
Yeah.
So
Did you
I can
ever
tell.
want
And
to?
but again, it's not like I wake up going, oh, I'm going to meet my black friend, so I got to
No,
start
no, no.
acting black,
Yeah.
or I've got to start acting white,
Right. Yeah.
or I got to start acting Korean, right?
Sure thing.
It's just sometimes it's unconscious and it happens. So, and same thing with Obama when he did it. It wasn't like, oh, I got to be black with these black people and I've got to be
Yeah,
what.
yeah.
It just comes out unconsciously,
Naturally.
right?
Yeah.
So I think code switching is okay, but a lot of people think like, oh, you should be your true authentic self. But
But
that
what if
is your true
I was
authentic
about to
self
say, yeah,
because it's
yeah.
ingrained in you,
You
right?
grew up with that,
And
especially yeah.
so again, back to your identity thing, we have a hard time trying to figure out what our identity is. But even the way we
But how much
approach,
of your identity is Korean and how much of your identity
I
is
think I'm much more Americanized
Christian?
because I've
No,
been
but I
here.
mean like in terms of what, yeah, like what
I mean,
your
I think
experience
I think
was.
in terms of they say an onion has many layers, right? And I think
Yeah.
people do too. And so depending upon which layer is peeled, I feel that when I'm with if I'm by myself,
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be as authentic to myself as I can.
Yeah.
But then unconsciously or subconsciously,
Yeah.
when we're around, like for example, if we're in let's say a hip hop nightclub,
Yeah.
your thinking is going to sort of alter, not
Yeah.
because you're forcing yourself to. It just happens naturally because
Yeah.
whatever you've been exposed to, let's say
Yeah.
you grew up with hip hop culture,
Yeah.
then you're going to go sort of fall back on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or let's say you're in a sports locker room or a sports event.
Yeah.
If you grew up with soccer, if you grew up with
Mm-hmm.
football, you're going to sort of fall back into what you are
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sort of used to or comfortable with, right?
Okay.
But not everybody can do that easily.
Sure. Yeah.
There are social
Because maybe they
awkwardness,
grew up.
social
Yeah.
norms that they don't always totally understand.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the world of dating, like how do you act in front of someone of the same sex or opposites, depending upon your preference,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you act? Because again, if I'm trying to impress a female or someone
Yeah.
that I'm interested in or that I'm attracted to,
Yeah.
I may change my demeanor. But it's not like, oh, I gotta act cool or I gotta be this way. No, it's just
Yeah.
that I want to hopefully portray one of the sides of my
Yeah.
identity.
The
right?
initial part of dating is tough because you're.
Oh, it's always tough. I
Yeah.
mean,
But once
now
you get to know
everybody's
each other,
using,
the apps, the
Bumble,
apps.
Tinder, and all this. I don't think I could ever do that. I mean, I
Yeah.
like being in front of people. I want to see your reactions, my reactions,
And
and be
then
able
make
to,
it, yeah.
and then be able to again show as authentic of myself
Yeah.
in front of that person. Not because I can change my look or catfish or do anything else. I don't want to be that kind of guy or that kind of
Yeah.
person.
No,
So,
no, yeah. The younger generation, I feel like they're more into
well,
the
that's because
what app, yeah.
I think we use this as crutches, as social crutches to
Yeah.
hide behind things.
Yeah.
But imagine if imagine even back in the 80s when we didn't have any of this, or 90s even, right?
Yeah.
I think if we ever went back to a simpler time, like let's say the internet just totally went away.
Yeah.
Not imagine
Yeah.
how much social learning that would need to happen for
Yeah.
them to be able to interact in that basis.
The playground,
Right.
the coffee station
You're
at
right,
work.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
a
The
lot of times-
cafeteria.
a lot of times there's a lot of avoidance, and I
Yeah.
think we need to be mindful that
You just gotta.
we live on a big planet,
Yeah.
and yes, there's billions of people, but you need to at least be able to interact, even if it's not just with other people, but even with your family, your friends, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your whoever, right?
There is a huge difference between a human touch versus a text message of hello. A hello is powerful, sure, like but a hello
no,
in
but to
person,
see, I mean, of course we use phones, right? But to hear it
yeah,
leave the lips of someone
yeah,
and just
the
travel
sound molecules, yeah,
to the sound molecules to your ear, there is definitely whether it be a biological, chemical reaction, whatever,
yeah,
there's something that happens when you're able to interact with someone.
yeah.
And I'm not just talking about physical intimacy or sex
No,
or
no,
anything,
no.
but just a simple exchange of
Yeah,
words
yeah.
or sounds or even glances. Like if I see your eyes, right?
Yeah.
Or the color of your eyes and or the beauty of your smile.
Yeah.
That is a sort of interaction that,
Yeah, that counts
people,
more than
and a
like
lot
a
of times
like.
people don't know how to deal with that because they've been so sheltered behind a phone, right?
Yeah, you gotta meet people. You gotta,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So,
Um, well, okay, so one thing we have been promoting on Preach with Prak is resolutions, New Year's resolution, New
ah,
Year. So three I had suggested was, and then you can pick which one maybe applies for you, or you could possibly cut back on digital technology. But I feel like you already got that down.
I try to minimize, but it's, but again, we are tied to technology and tied to what I call information superhighway, right? We want to know what's
Yeah, yeah.
happening right at that
But just
moment.
like cut back on it, maybe.
Well, you could also do a digital detox where you go away
Yeah,
and you leave everything
yeah,
technology-wise behind. I
yeah.
mean, whether it be a cruise, whether it be a beach trip, whether it be
The
camping,
hike.
hiking. I think
Yeah,
that's something that people need to do more of.
yeah.
But what are the other two?
But I feel like your life, you already have a good relationship with your
I
phone, a
try. I
healthy.
try.
I feel like the second one is journaling or writing your
I
thoughts
write a
down.
lot. I mean, I do write. I mean, I'm a poet. I'm a lyricist.
Yeah, yeah,
So I write a lot. But lately, with all the things that are happening in the world, with the new administration,
yeah.
with just even last night, the plane crash with the
In
helicopter.
our area,
I know. I
yeah.
mean, there's a lot of sadness that's going on, and I know some people, they internalize it and they get affected very deeply. But I try to, even when I hear tragedy or sadness, or even if it's something personal to me,
Yeah,
I try to write those things down because
yeah. Yeah,
I
can
don't
you
use
share
social.
how it has helped you?
Yeah, and
Like
I
the
don't use
journaling,
social. I don't use social media to tell my private thoughts or feelings,
like
or
your
even
tweet it.
politics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even politics, right? I do use social media to promote things that I enjoy, or promote things like, for example, this event that's
Sure.
happening right
Yeah.
now. But back to yours,
The
I think it's
journaling,
the
yeah.
journaling is important because you should document whatever that is going through your mind and brain and your feelings and your emotions,
Yeah.
because you can
Yeah.
always go back and reflect.
Yes,
My
yes.
dad was very hard on us about writing a journal or diary every day.
Yeah.
I hated it. I would write stupid things like, okay, I
At
ate
the
lunch.
time.
I ate lunch. I went
What a good
outside,
dad. What a
right?
good dad.
No,
Shout
no.
out to your
I mean,
dad.
again,
Because
regardless.
that's a
No,
really
no.
good
But
habit.
then
Yeah.
I can always go back, because you can only capture that moment in that moment. Now we can. Now I journal on a computer, right? We type it
But
out,
still, you're
and
you're giving
so
your thoughts a space.
I know. But
You're
I'm
giving,
saying
yeah.
making sure you document,
Yeah.
because you're not here forever. You should be able to document, and then if you do have friends or kids or whatever, you want to be able to pass on
Yeah.
what it is that you've learned in the short time that we're here.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
what's the third one? You
The
had one
third
more.
one is abstinence or dieting or exercising or fasting.
Yeah.
You
Well, I mean,
integrating
I
any
grew
of
up.
these?
I grew up as Catholic. All right. So as a
Okay.
Catholic, during
Lent.
Lent, you always had to give up something, right? 40
Yeah.
days, right?
Yeah.
And then of course meatless Fridays, right? So for me,
Do you practice those?
I mean, I'm not a perfect Catholic, but and a religion we'll say for another day. But my point is that anything of something too much
Yeah.
is too much, right? You need to be able to moderate. You need to be able to
Yeah.
figure out, like, let's say you love cake or you love soda, or even some of the other vices, like bad vices. You love smoking marijuana, you love sex, you love gambling, right? But I
Drink.
think
Yeah.
you need to be able to temper, right? Because if you can temper
Yeah.
things, then
Yeah.
you're not, here's the thing people don't realize about addiction. If you temper it, then you're not addicted, right? Because once you become addicted, then your
Yeah.
life will really change for the worse.
And you're unable to temper it,
Right.
right?
So
Yeah. That's
again,
how you know that
so
it's
again, if
gone hold of
anything
your
you can
life.
do in moderation, whether it be eating, like, for example, I'm a foodie, I love food, right?
Okay.
But you don't go overboard. It's not like, oh, I got to go to a buffet every day. That would be stupid, right? You temper that, you pace that, and same thing with anything that is either a good vice or a bad vice.
Shopping, yeah,
Right.
too much TV, too much
Right.
internet, yeah.
Video games, whatever it may be.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and we don't know how to. And I think with this younger generation, the parents need to be better about tempering that
Yeah.
and providing alternatives. Like, hey, why don't I drop you off at the library? Or why don't I drop you off the park? Why don't I drop you? I mean, not forcing them, but just providing alternatives and say, you know what? I think it'd be great. The weather's beautiful. You should go out. Let me take your phone, right? And you come back in 2 hours, right? Set a time, whatever. Especially if they're older. Now, if they're younger, you need to have more supervision. But again, I remember, I didn't want to come home sometimes. Like, I'd be outside playing with my friends, and I didn't want to come home. It turned dark, and then my mom's like, "Where are you, Christian? Christian, come!" But again, tempering is something that we all have to learn.
Yeah.
But it's not always taught.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah. I hope that answers your the three resolutions.
No, it does. It does. And I hope, yeah, I mean, that's why I thought these were good themes for people to consider if they were thinking of a resolution. Or yeah, you hit the nail on that one. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for the time, and I wish you the best. If there's anything, I mean, in the future, if you want to talk about other things, like I said, we could talk.
We're gonna see each other because we talk.
We talk. I could talk a lot about religion, but that's for another day. And then of course,
since
I think
we're here with your social network, Crescendo Studios, we're gonna see each other. Yeah.
Thank you for the time, and
thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Want more of Preach with Prak? How about you go ahead and subscribe to our Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprak.com. Here I'll provide you a weekly message to guide you throughout the week and check in with you with a wellness questionnaire. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe to Rise and Shine to Your Purpose newsletter, available only on preachwithprak.com. Let me go ahead and give a quick shout out to Crescendo Studios. If you are a resident of the DC, Maryland, Virginia area looking for a professional studio, a music school for yourself or your child, or looking to join, perform, and collaborate with local artists, Crescendo Studios is the studio for you. Crescendo has first-class equipments for your sound productions, the best music instructors the area can offer, and the studio also regularly hosts open mic events and Nova Traffic Jam. So, want to connect with Crescendo? Reach out to the team of Your Soul Shall Network and Bo for your moment at Crescendo.